I am in a marriage where my partner has been and continues to be unfaithful. Divorce seems like my only option, but Jesus said such harsh things about divorce. What do I do? Well, that is indeed a tough question and one that we do need to talk about. And for the person that wrote that, I am so sorry that you are going through that trouble in your life. And I'm probably the best one to receive the question because I have lived through a divorce. And so I know how you're feeling. And in this room today, there are many of you that have differing opinions about it. But again, we invite you to talk about it. So let me tell you what happened with me and what I did about my situation. Whenever it got to the point where I could not figure out what I was going to do, the first place I went was to my church. And I talked to my pastor, and I told my pastor the whole story. And he prayed with me, worked with me, knew my family well. And after a while, he went ahead and sent me on to a Christian counselor, which I highly recommend. That Christian counselor worked with me, worked with my children, and you're noticing that I'm saying work with me because my spouse would not go. I had to go alone. But it was the best thing I ever did. So in the Bible, and I think it's Malachi, God says, I hate divorce. And in the New Testament, Jesus talks strongly about divorce. You know why he does that? Because the family is the way that he decided to put us into these family situations where we can be loved and nurtured and we can raise children up to be people of God. That's why he doesn't want divorce, is because that fractures. Whenever there is a divorce, not only the couple, but then the children, and it just trickles on out. The mother-in-law that I absolutely loved was all of a sudden one day not my mother-in-law. And so it trickles out and out and out. So for you, I would say, go to your church. Pray with a pastor. Let them know, get on the prayer list, and then seek Christian counseling before you make any decision at all. And if your partner will go with you, oh my gosh, reconciliation is the best of everything. Reconciliation is exactly what the Lord wants us to do. The social principles of the United Methodist Church say, and you can read them today, that God loves the family. He wants the family unit to be strong. He wants the children to be healthy. But sometimes things happen where that is breaking down. And so, regrettably, divorce does happen sometimes. And so the social principles say, make sure that you are cautious with all of the relationships that are a part of what is happening. And for you out there that have various thoughts on this, be really careful not to judge until you have walked in somebody's shoes. And to you young people, up in the balcony and down here, I give you this charge. Make sure you ask God if the person that you are dating and you are ready to marry is the person that He wants you to marry.
I guess one thing I would say about it is it's a really good question for this panel, and I doubt if the people choosing the questions knew this, but two of us, because I've been through divorce also, and the one thing I would add to what Ann said is when you've been through something that's really horrible like that, where I was is I didn't think it didn't occur to me that I could be forgiven. And when I went back to my church, my pastor said, Bill, God's grace is sufficient. He's already forgiven you. Forgive yourself. There's always a place in God's heart. Nothing separates you from His love.